Howdy friends, in this section of this video what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my horse ownership program video series. I did 6 lessons in order to allow somebody to ride my horses at the ranch, and these lessons were important to help somebody that was thinking about purchasing a horse to own those horses. So my friends, what I'd like to do before I get started is show you some pictures on the screen here. One of the reasons why I'm offset in this picture in this video is because I'm going to be putting some pictures over here, and I'm going to be putting some videos within this video right there as well. As you know, this is the mural to the Ministry Resort Retreat Center that I had. So the house in this lower level made up the fellowship hall, and of course you can see the barn right back here. But what you don't see is the circle corral and the arena that we're going to be talking about here in a minute. So hold on, my friends, it's going to get fun. Well, my friends, what you're going to be seeing here is I'm going to be putting some pictures on the screen here that's going to be showing you the barn. So the first lesson actually started inside the barn, so you're seeing a picture of that on the screen now. So inside this barn we did a lot of things before we moved to a different location. So what we're going to be doing now, my friends, is I'm going to show you what I did in the barn. This video I'm going to be showing you is actually outside, but I did this inside the barn because I wanted my people to actually go inside the stalls that you see there in that picture to catch the horse. So what we're going to be doing, my friends, we're going to be watching a video with inside the video. I'm going to be watching this video with you. I'm going to be talking about what's going on. And this video that we're going to be watching has an instructor actually teaching a young girl. Out of my ranch, my friends, we had a lot of young girls that would come out and take the riding lessons along, as well as young men and also elderly people and couples and stuff like that. So let's watch a little bit of this video, and let's kind of show you what's going on here. So how to halter and lead a horse. So what she's basically doing is she's talking about putting that lead rope over that horse. You can see that in this video right here. You don't want your horse to get away from you. You want to control that horse. And now she's putting that halter on that horse. And if you're listening to the video as well, you'll realize that that halter's a little bit too big. But she shows you the overpass on one arm and then hooking it up. You don't ever want to reach underneath a horse and put it over, because if you drop that halter on the top, you could lose it and lose your horse. So you always want to reach over and make sure you got a handhold on that lead rope. So she's just fixing the halter a little bit. Now she's going to ask her student to lead the rope, but she's teaching her how to work the lead rope and which positions of the body on the horse to be able to walk with. So let's watch and listen for a little bit here. Very important to know which positioning controls the horse. So we get up to put the saddle on the horse. These points of impact, or these pressure points, are going to have a big play in what we're doing in this first riding lesson. Also in this first riding lesson, my friends, we actually teach horse safety. We do some classroom work, and then on that same day we teach them the safety of the horse. And a horse is unpredictable. A horse is going to do whatever that horse wants to do. It may step on you, it may bite you, it may there's signs to look for, but what we want to do is we want to learn how to control that horse from the ground before we do any work on the back of that horse. Watch it just for a few more minutes here, and now she's talking about pressure points that you can touch to get the horse to move away from you. Same thing that we'll be doing with leg cues when we're starting to rein a horse. So now she's going to have her student lead that horse, and she's putting up her hand as to how to hold that lead rope. And so you'd never want to have your thumb towards the horse as she's showing you here, because if the horse pulls away, you could break your hand. So she's giving control with the hand up instead of the hand down on the lead rope. So the thumb always goes towards you, not towards your horse down. See how the thumb is up when you're starting, and the thumb is towards the horse when you're leading the horse. I would hold my horse a little closer to that snaffle bit so I have more control on the horse. But you get the idea of what you're watching in the picture here. Now she's going to have that student take care of the tail of that lead rope. Now her student is leading that horse. That's probably the first part of any good riding program, is to teach that student how to catch that horse, how to halter that horse, how to lead that horse. If you're going to own a horse, that's important. We also do a vet class, so the vet would come out and he would speak to the students. I would hold a little class, and the vet would come out and he would talk to 5 or 6 students at one time. If you're going to own a horse, you got to know how to take care of the horse, but you also need to know how to catch your horse and how to lead your horse safely. Let's get ready to do this next section here. And my friends, in this section of this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some circle crawl work. Here's a picture of the circle crawl. Again, we're going to be zooming in on this circle crawl, and the circle crawl is an important factor. Okay, the work that you're seeing now is throwing your lead line over your horse. Okay, so this is an important aspect as we listen to this young man tell you why we're going to do that. So let's watch him for a minute.
I'm heading to right now is get your horse, not just to get him saddled, but actually have them participate with a partner in the saddle process. Okay?
He's got a different halter on a horse. This is the kind of halter I would normally teach somebody to put on a horse. Is the rope halter. And this gentleman is going to tell you what he's doing with that lead rope. This is important, and if you can't spend some time with your horse just doing this, I don't care if you buy a horse that's really old or not, you need to understand that this is a friendly game that you can do with your horse. So if you're going to buy a horse for your children, this is important that you teach your children how to do this. Okay, when you get ready to swing that saddle up over that horse, this is the same technique that you're going to be doing, as you can hear him saying. Let's watch him for a minute.
Lead rope over is just a precursor to even not only the saddle but us going on, because this is something so many times I've seen people kind of sneak the saddle on, sneak up there themselves, just everything always easy. I'm going to ask my horse to participate in the part. All right, so this little ritual of put your left leg next to their left.
He's got some good points there.
Under her nose, turn, swivel, throw this over. Real good things for you to practice, because so many times we get to the saddle.
I had every riding lesson person do this. If it was a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 50-year-old, I'd have them do these same exercises. I feel like they were important. And if you own a horse at home, this is probably the best thing that you can do at home too, is just to have a fun game with your horse. It's not always about the business of getting on and riding all the time. All right, my friends, let's come back to riding lesson number 3. And lesson number 3, my friends, it's time to put the saddle on the horse, and we're going to actually step up on that horse. So we're going to see 2 different videos in this session. So in this video, my friends, we're going to listen to a gentleman that actually is reclining. He might be doing a trail ride, he might be resting out in the pasture, but let's give him a listen for a little bit.
Western Center. Today we're going to talk about how to Western saddle a horse. I got my Western saddle here. This is a good way to sit in your saddle when you're relaxing and give your horse a break out on the trail. Then when you need to saddle him back up, your pad's sitting up right, your saddle's ready to go, and you can resaddle your horse.
Good way to put your saddle if you don't have a saddle rack or a stand to put it on.
Make sure there's no grass, burrs, rocks, sand.
And normally I would teach my students to groom the horse, and he's just doing it like if he'd be out on a trail somewhere. Just pay attention to how he puts that blanket on and why he takes some special time with that blanket.
When you put a saddle on your horse, you always want to put it farther up than where it's going to go. Natural lay of a horse hair is down like this.
Notice how he puts it up high on the horse and then he lays it back over the skin. That's very important over that fur on that horse, so we don't have any kind of wrinkle or anything.
Good and centered. Spot there for the shoulders. Then before I throw on my saddle, again, I'm going to check the bottom of my saddle here, all the sheepskin, make sure there's no grass, burrs, sticks, rocks, anything that's going to stick. Even though I have a saddle pad, this is going to protect my saddle and my horse. Doesn't matter which side you throw it on. The trick of getting a saddle is a whipping motion. I'm going to use my knee. You notice my knee right here?
Is it possible to teach a young person to put a saddle on a horse? Absolutely. If it's a kid's saddle, they can put the saddle on the horse. Sometimes mom and dad may have to help, but if you learn how to put the saddle and throw that saddle up on a horse, a person that's shorter than a horse can get that saddle up on that horse pretty effectively.
Different cinches are tucked underneath, causing bulges. I want to make sure everything lays freely, stirrup straight. There's nothing that's going to bother or bind my horse. Again, horse always has two sides. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I usually have more pad up front because when you're riding, a saddle pad will always move back normally.
See the closeness he has with that horse? If we would not have taken that lead line and thrown it up over that horse, that horse may spook or may move away from your use. Also, when we desensitized in the last video, we got used to our horse too, and together we formed a bond, so the horse knew us and we knew that horse. That's important when you become this close with that horse to put the saddle on that horse. Now he reaches underneath that horse. Remember when we took the lead rope, he reached up underneath and grabbed a hold of that lead? It's important. If you can't do it in lesson number 2, you're going to have a hard time here. A lot of the students that I had, they were afraid to reach up underneath their horse if I didn't take them to lesson number 2 first.
So my ladder goes nice and smooth. Everything looks neat. I don't have any bulges, bolts. I don't have any twisted leather.
And he's putting the back cinch on the saddle. Notice how he puts that cinch on that horse tight. He doesn't leave that loose so it's hanging down. There's a reason for that.
Inspected this, inspected his belly, no grass.
You always want to leave your saddle loose when you first start out because you want to adjust that saddle blanket. We're going to see him do that here in a minute.
You notice when I did the cinch, I only put it on the first one. My cinch is still pretty loose. And because the cinch is loose, somebody said that was too loose. It is too loose. And the reason why it is because I still need to adjust the saddle pad. So I keep it loose on my first cinch and let him get used to it. Now I'm going to shove this saddle pad in between the gullet here, where my hand comes up here to where I don't have any wrinkles. Because when he puts his head up, see how it gets closer right there? I don't want this pad all the way down here putting pressure on his neck. So now I'm going to wiggle the saddle around and give it what I call a natural lay. A saddle will fall on the horse the way it's supposed to fit in a natural position.
Now he tightens that cinch back up.
You shake it around a bit, it's going to settle in.
Now he's going to put the front breast collar on the horse.
One more notch up. So I tighten my cinch one more notch.
Notice what he says about pulling up them legs.
Then, after I cinch him up, I'm going to go ahead and give him a stretch.
If you're going to own a horse, you need to know these secrets, my friends.
I'm going to stretch all the skin right here, and that's going to get out any kinks.
No, he's going to tie this up high instead of down low.
Breast collar, this is called a pulling collar.
He's going to tell you why.
Because it comes on up here. Some of your breast collars will come down here. I prefer this one because it tends to engage when the saddle moves versus always rubbing on the horse's shoulder. But it's personal preference. I'm going to adjust my breast collar on here. make sure it's the way I want it. Reach underneath, hook this to the cinch. Do one last tightening of my cinch. Make it good and tight. Shake down. That's how you saddle a Western horse.
And as you can tell, my friends, that's it on that one. Let's look at some basic reining from using leg cues, you know, to how to rein that horse. Let's watch that video here pretty quick. Well, my friends, in part 3 of teaching my people how to saddle up a horse and put a bridle on it, we're going to get to a point that it's time to start riding the horse. So we will start off getting up in the saddle and positioning our legs, and then we'll start walking and turning left and turning right and backing the horse. I believe that the best way to rein a horse is using leg cues to move that horse. So what I like to do in this part of this video, my friends, is I would like to show you a video that has the same guy that saddled the horse. He's going to show you how he uses his legs to actually ride that horse. Let's give that a watch right now. And here we go.
We're going to talk about how to use your legs when you're trying to steer or give an additional cue to your horse. And using your legs is something that's kind of like...
He's basically talking to you about leg control right now.
Spurs, I would use my legs differently than if I don't use spurs. You won't see me dig my heels into my horse.
He's talking about giving pressure with the leg, the upper leg and the lower part of the leg.
I wouldn't have to dig my heels in. I could just turn my foot and the spur would get that cue. I don't wear spurs, so I use the bottom and the top of my leg. When I want my horse to go forward, it's almost like I'm pushing both legs forward and I'm moving my hips.
See, he's saying it's the pressure that moves the horse.
Pressure to push my horse forward. So if I want him to go forward, I'm going to squeeze just with my legs and my whole body said move forward. My whole, everything in my body.
Now you want to move forward?
Constrict a little bit. When I want him to go left,
all leg cues.
I'm going to take this right leg and just use like my calf and the bottom part from my knee down and just put a little.
Now you want to turn the horse. The horse turns away from the leg pressure.
So when I'm doing it, so now we're going to move to the right. I'm going to take my left leg, put a little pressure on.
See how he's got his heels down and his toes up? That's how you want to ride.
And then same thing, if I want to move a horse backwards, some people will squeeze forward and will learn to use their legs with the rein to go ahead and tuck and squeeze and push the horse backwards. Now, this is
now he's backing the horse.
than this, and you may not be able to see it, but it's very minute changes in your
all
legs.
with leg cues,
You're telling the horse,
along with reining the horse.
Forward, I want both legs to push you backwards, or I want one leg to push you to the left, and that's where we're going to the left. So that's how basically how you're going to use your legs. After you refine that, you're going to be able to use your legs to move the front part of your horse, the rear of your horse, or the whole.
I do believe he has a lot of points there that are worth listening to. I used to ride my horses with leg cues, and in upcoming videos, my friends, you're going to see me actually singing and playing the guitar from horseback completely hands-free. So when I'm playing the guitar from horseback, I'm strumming that guitar, my legs then control that horse. We're going to be checking that out in upcoming videos. But now, my friends, let's get ready for lesson number 4. And this lesson we have saddled up, we've bridled, we've walked, we've turned left and right, we've backed our horse, and we've learned some leg cues along with our rein control. So now let's put our horse into a faster pace. And my friends, in lesson number 4, we moved to the circle crawl. In this video that we're going to be watching, she's not in a circle crawl, she's in an open arena. But I like to use my circle crawl because give the horse a boundary that couldn't get out. So in this video, my friends, we're watching a trainer from the ground actually teaching a student to post a trot on a horse, how to get in rhythm with that horse. As you can tell, she's got a long lead line on that horse, and she's instructing that student on what to do and how to post that trot. Basically, a trot is a slower gait than a gallop. That's the first area. A lot of my students, they couldn't get past this lesson, and we had to repeat this several times. When we're in a circle crowd, we teach the student to control that horse, but after a while, I take the lead rope off that horse, and I stand in the center, and I ask that student to do that and make several turns, stop the horse, back the horse, etc., and so forth. Well, now we're going to go the other way. All of this is highly important for horse ownership and bonding. Okay, remember back when we were talking about our relationship between God and man? That's kind of how it works. We are that horse, and God is that person, or Jesus is that person on the ground, and we're trying to work through those situations. We're trying to make a connection. We're trying to bond with Jesus Christ. And we have the Holy Spirit, which is that person on the ground doing the circle work to connect us and to help us to get into sync with what Jesus wants us to do. Well, friends, before I show you this next video, I want to show you some pictures on the screen here that kind of talk about the things that I had out at the One Heart Ranch to help people get to this position. So this first picture that you're seeing is me on one of my horses, and those other horses are riding lesson horses. Those are the horses that people would also rent out. So you're seeing that in that picture. This next picture, what I want to show you is the actual riding arena, and we set up some poles and some barrels, and you can kind of see them in that picture. This trailer indicates a platform that I had. I didn't have money to build a structure or to put bleachers out here. But on the day that we had this trailer out here, and you can see all the red barrels, those had the poles in there. This was a Gymkhana event that we did. And this next picture shows me on the ground with that setup and the pickup that I had at the time. And that picture actually shows the Scottsbluff National Monument and the surrounding hills that we had there. I think that's a pretty good picture to show you. This next picture is my daughter. She came out to a Gymkhana and did some of the things that you're going to be seeing in this video that we're going to watch. So we had actual pole bending bases that you're going to be seeing in this video, but these were makeshift buckets that I could do different things with, and I could set them up in different areas out at the Circle Corral. But that's my daughter on one of the taller horses that we used that day, and you can kind of tell. I'm going to zoom in on this picture. You can kind of tell that she kind of has a nervous look on her face until she actually gets up on the horse, and then she's got a big old smile on her face. I think this is the first time she actually rode a horse. And as you can see off in the distance there is a porta potty out there, and I always supplied that whenever I did a camp or an event. These are going to be important when we come back and we talk about the Girl Scout camps and the church retreats and stuff that I did. So let's watch this video, my friends. This is a lady that's doing some instructing for a person that's actually pole bending. And this is kind of a competition that I would teach my children to do. And she's just kind of taking it at a little fast walk. She's going to move around the other way and go back through them.
It's very common for the horse to do them often enough.
The kids enjoyed that, but you want to get as close as you can to those poles without knocking those poles over.
To ask them to do a lot of different kinds of
then as she rounds that corner, she wants to gain some speed and she wants to go through at a gallop. Let's see what happens there.
Through, it gives them a chance to get that pattern down, and now she's going to jog them all the way home, and that would complete the whole pattern in a practice or warm-up sense. After she completes this second series at the jog,
I will put a link to this video in the descriptions below, as well as all the other links to the videos that I'm showing here. You can actually watch this full video. She puts that horse into a gallop. I didn't really want to take the time to do that in this video, but it's pretty important because that's what the kids did when they came out to the ranch. All right, my friends, this next video is riding lesson number 6, which is actually trail riding. Let's check that out. Let's watch a little video on trail riding. We had to go all the way through those first 5 riding lessons or horse ownership lessons to get to the trail ride. And as you can tell here, there's a person with 2 people that are trail riding. And whenever I do a trail ride, that would be their ride, their final ride to graduate the riding program. And we're out riding around, and that's what I do. But the first lesson I do is I'd have a lead rope attached to that horse, and be a 20-foot lead line, and I just let that line out, and I let that horse walk around. And then eventually that student was doing that by themselves. That's very, very, very important, my friends, to see that. Well, as you can tell, my friends, we're back on Google Earth, and I want to show you where the trail ride took us on. People would drive up the driveway, and as we scan back out, I want to show you this. So people would actually drive up the county road, and this was up to my personal house up here. So most people, when it come to doing things in the fellowship hall, they would come and they would park along this area right here where my cursor is at. But most people would take this road up to the barn, and this area up here was full of parking area. So people could park along this area here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in really close to the barn here. So people would, for the trail ride, they would come here, and we would exit this side of the barn over here, and we would ride down this area right here. And as you can tell, it's a pretty big area, and there's a gate area here. Then we would ride this way, and then we would ride along the junkyard path here. And then we would ride clear over here. You're seeing the arena up, but we're actually riding where my cursor's at right now. When we get over here, there's a fence line over here, and I owned all this property up here to this corner. I owned all that, but we didn't ride there. We would cut across here between these tree areas. Then we would ride along this fence line right here. There's a fence line right here. Then you get over here, there's another fence that comes over here. And then there's a main fence that comes right here. So we would ride through here, and then we would cut down this trail. This trail becomes steep. We'd start winding in and out of these trees. These trees are really tall. This is an aerial view that's taken from 1,246 feet in the air. So that's a long ways up there. So we'd keep riding, and this is a steep, steep trail. These trails that you see here are horse paths, but we'd keep riding, and then we'd get to this area. There was a nice scenic area down here, and then we would start riding uphill. There's a steep hill here, and you'd have to lean back in your saddle to go up this area here. And as you can tell, there's a fence that comes all the way around here. Then we would ride back on this side of the road, and then you can tell the entrance here. Let's scan down on this. So these had gates on here, and the people would come through this gate. Okay, so anyway, we would get to this point right here, and then we would turn, and then we would ride on that trail and keep on going. And here's an overhead gate that we'd keep on riding, and then you can see some horses that are right here. But we ride around this pasture here, and then come up behind this barn here, and then we would ride up this. There's a steep hill that, as you can tell, the house is a pretty steep area. And then we would cut around this trail right here. This is a constant path, trail riding path. And then we'd come through this gate right here, in this junction. There's a gate through this fence right here. Then we ride back over here, and we keep on riding. And then then we would come back through here along this tree line. And then as you can tell, the path comes back here again. Well, there's a fence across here that divided that so the horses can get there. And they come up into the alleyway here, and then they would ride all the way down through this big old alleyway here. And then we would end the ride right here. Then they would dismount and then lead their horses inside the barn. So that is the trail ride in itself. And as you can tell, this area was the One Heart Ranch Ministries. So this whole area. And I talked about the 12 cabins that I was going to build. I was actually going to build the cabins along this area. There would have been enough area to build 12 individual cabins here. And then I would have opened up this gate right down here and people could have drove in and parked in front of their cabins. So basically the size of trailer houses, I guess, but smaller, just to have a bedroom and a bathroom and a little setting area. And like I said, that view is pretty amazing.